Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes of the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh. Most times we go deep. And today we have a special treat for you. We are covering the series premiere, the limited series premiere of The Walking Dead World Beyond. It's really good to be back. Our second episode that we're covering, actual episode. How wonderful. And we're doing our best to actually catch up. I know this is a week late, but we will be recording Fear the Walking Dead's Season 6 premiere tonight, and we will also be recording The Walking Dead World Beyond's second episode tomorrow night. Cannot wait to catch up with you guys. Cannot wait to show you guys what we're all about. This episode today is fantastic. We had Sharon D in the chat, Blazy Gardner on Twitter, Instagram, and even Facebook. So, and hey, Pivy, how's it going? It's good to see you. Thank you for joining. Without further ado, I did the best I could to reformat our thumbnails and our little intro that we do before we get on. I really hope you enjoy that. I think I did a pretty good job in the limited amount of time that I had, and I think you'll find it quite the treat. Hey, Renee. Hey, it's good to see you. So without further ado, I'm going to premiere this episode, and I don't have too much housekeeping. The only thing I could say is that if you have bought us a coffee, I just posted the recording details for tonight's Fear the Walking Dead discussion. It's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern, so join us. It'd be great to have you. Right after this premieres, I'm going to be getting my notes together, hopefully in time to record. I have 2 solid hours, hopefully. Or plus. Hey, Rachel's here too. That's great. So I think we'll have a really, really good, fruitful discussion. I think it was an unbelievable episode that premiered Sunday night. And I really do think Fear the Walking Dead is going to blow some minds away, especially in Reddit. If you have not seen the R Fear the Walking Dead Reddit subreddit, holy crap. A little bit of a reversal. I'll take any ground with that group. So anywho, without further ado, I don't want to waste any time. Enjoy our coverage of The Walking Dead World Beyond's series premiere, limited series premiere. Episode's called Brave. Enjoy. We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes of the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, and most times we go deep. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by CosmoMom09, Rachael Burt.
Heyo!
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 Okay, it's that kind of night. And we'll be covering the series premiere, I guess a limited series, right?
Limited series.
Limited series is probably a better word, of The Walking Dead World Beyond. Oh, wait, before we start the show, I kind of want to actually go through a Facebook comment that we got that I thought was particularly interesting. I get interesting things all the time, but it's rare to get quite an interesting question like this, because it's nothing to do with The Walking Dead World Beyond. And yet, in some way, it kind of does. The conversation starts off with, all I took from the ad that we put up, because it was a response to our ad, is that they're going deep. Ha 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 ha, laughing emoji, because we go deep, sometimes we go deep. Okay, but seriously, I love The Walking Dead. Arg, 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 all hail The Walking Dead. Now I go, Jordan Sweet, you ain't wrong, we go pretty deep. Hashtag experience. And then he goes, lol, IDKY, but sometimes I wonder what it would be like if zombies had a sex drive. Already off to a great start. Laughing emoji, and then I respond with a laughing emoji, and I go, can I quote you, laughing emoji? As funny as that is, this is an example of how deep we go, and I don't think you're going to like the answer. And he says, hells yes, please do.
Gosh.
And I say, I'll answer that question at the top of episode 101. Now, I didn't keep that promise, but I'm going to keep it now in episode 102. The answer is, if zombies are all id, meaning it's just about want and desires. It's kind of like what I was talking about in episode 101 with regards to Beta's Requiem for Beta, how the zombies were all like caressing him / about to tear him apart, and he's like he's like asking for it because that's the
right.
So the idea of the dude from Perfume pouring the scent all over him, well, these people wanted him so badly, they wanted every bit of him, and then they tore him apart and ate him in the street. And so
what it would be like for a zombie to have a sex drive, I think it would be like tearing at your dick. and sex, I think, I kind of consider as being like a two-way street kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
As it should be.
As it should be, right?
Yeah,
I don't think what we would call, well, maybe two zombies, but they wouldn't want each other. They'd want you.
Right.
And a zombie with it's just
yeah. If zombies walking around horny instead of hungry,
I don't know. That'd be like,
I mean,
that'd be like 10th degree rape, right?
Oh my God.
Where it moves past rape to something completely unrecognizable.
Like, it's coming at you, and then, like, you know, they're coming at you like this, and then all of a sudden they start going down.
Right. And they
you're
just...
like, wait a minute.
Right. But it's not about giving, it's about getting pleasure. So, like, what would they be, like, sticking their... Well, I mean, look, if it's dangly, it's off.
Yeah, I mean...
It's probably off. I think... Okay, here's the deal. Now, again, like we said, I don't think you're going to like the answer. If they're dangly bits, they're probably... flopped off a long time ago. I think it would be the female walkers. However, I'm going to say it right now. I'm just stupid. I could see it going inside out, the female parts. Like,
oh, gross.
This goes like
man,
that.
you're getting like real graphic. I'm just picturing zombies like shoving people down and then dry humping them.
Yeah. I'm thinking the opposite. I'm thinking they want the pleasure. That's the whole thing. Like, it's them. It's what I want.
They're trying to get pleasure out of it, but they're zombies and they don't know how.
So
they're just like
squatting in perpetuity.
Like in video games when you die and
you
then
do
you
the
go
squat
over and you
thing.
hump the guy you just killed.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like that.
You do the crouch squat. Yeah, exactly.
Zombies are just running around squatting on everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it looks like we've got Sharon D in the chat. Sharon D, I hope you enjoyed our... You see, here's the thing. Zombie-id desire would be like so unrecognizable to us that we can't even properly describe it. I think about like a person that would do something that we know of. That already to me is alien to me. Like, I can't understand it. Can't understand the desire or the desire or the mechanics, or, you know, I don't know how it works and I don't want to know how it works. But yeah, so like, can you imagine what zombie weird shit is going to be like? I can't do it. It's not in my brain. To describe it would mean the fall of humanity. Like, it's kind of like once you know the secrets of the world, that's when you pass away. It's like, oh yeah, I finally understand the secrets of the, you know, like that.
Yeah.
I've reached enlightenment. Thanks, Jordan Swain from Facebook.
Yeah, that was a good start. Good kickoff. I did really appreciate the opening scene. Only after the second time I watched it, though. After I realized Iris is an artist. Watching it the first time, I'm like, what the hell's going on? She's an artist, so she's seeing her dreams sort of as drawings and sketches as well. Yeah,
exactly. It's just all swirling together. In her speech, even, she's like doodling too, like all these little sketches, and she has the doodle for Felix's birthday card, which we see in this episode as well. But yeah, this goes back to something that we were talking about when we were like reviewing all the teasers. Like, we had the last teaser, which covered, you know, Fear the Walking Dead season 6, The Walking Dead World Beyond. We took two teasers down for The Walking Dead World Beyond, and that one big, not so big teaser in opening minutes into The Walking Dead's 16th episode of season 10. In that, we kind of said it looks like these people are brought up to think of the future rather than the now. And I really underestimated how much that played into the episode all throughout. Like, it's not only a very personal thing, but it's a very ethos thing.
When Hope goes to visit her mom and we see like the graveyard,
yeah,
I got a very heads on pike feeling, and then the markers felt very, hilltop coinish.
Oh, that's interesting.
To me too.
I really didn't even connect the two. But what made you think of the pikes? Just specifically how they looked?
Just because they were
straight
sticks
up
coming from the ground. Yeah. But then when I saw the marker on there, well, from far away, you just see a whole bunch of markers, and I was like, oh, it immediately made me think of the little hilltop coin. And then when we see the front, I'm like, oh, I see. It's a name marker,
right?
Yeah, and then I was like, then it kind of made me think of the spikes.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because the last time we see the hilltop coin is right by a spike. So
Right, this is when it's just falling. And did you get a good look at the one that Hope is looking at?
Her mother's?
Yeah.
I thought I did. Now you're making me question.
Oh, there's two things to look out for. One that means nothing to you and everything to me. But one thing is every single one of them says the birth date and then till NSF.
Oh yeah, NSF. I was trying to figure out what that could stand for.
Okay.
And
I'll give you a couple guesses,
but I don't think it's right. Do you know what it stands for, or do you have a theory what you think?
I'm like a cat playing with a mouse. Like, you do know what it is? You know what it is?
You
I do.
You do know what it stands for though?
It means
how do I know?
I don't know, but I know. It's the night the sky fell. NSF. I mean, they reference it a lot in the episode too. The idea of the
Okay. I took it as no soul found. Like they never recovered a body.
Very common, by the way. You're not the only one who thought that. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're right. I don't know. But I mean, meaning maybe they still didn't find her, but it was still the night the sky fell. I definitely think it's that.
I don't like that whole
the mythos kind of thing.
That's
everything has a symbol.
That's one of my that's just one of my beefs that she keeps calling it the night the sky fell. It was a plane. It was a plane. Say the night of the plane crash.
Well, no, here's the thing. It would be fine if it was just one plane, but it was either multiple planes or it was huge chunks of the plane that were falling after that. Because you saw the fuselage fall, right? Yeah. But then there were other things that kept falling on them, in their town.
From the plane.
Yeah, probably.
What are the... I mean, I'm not against the idea of multiple planes, but really, what are the chances that two planes are going to crash in the same town? I mean, they're going to be in the sky out of each other's way anyway. You know what I mean? And then they lose signal or whatever. There's still going to be a decent way out of each other's way. It's not totally impossible, but I would find it really hard to believe that two planes crashed in the same town.
Unless they were both trying to land at the airstrip because they were both getting zombie attacks on their plane. And then, at some point they crashed in midair because they're both circling the sky. Imagine this, if you will.
Is there a airport
near
there?
Near Omaha? Probably. I mean, I've been to Omaha. I've been to Nebraska. I've been, down the interstate.
I've driven through it.
Exactly.
It stinks.
I visited Aurora for one day. That was enough.
Yeah, that was just one beef.
Yeah.
The night the sky fell. It sounds like something a child would say.
Well, it does give us like visions of. I mean, if I don't know about you, but like the webisode of Flight 451, 462.
Sure.
I forget what it was. The Fear the Walking Dead webisodes.
Mm-hmm.
Like 462, yeah, that's what it was. But is relevant because that happened a lot. I mean, Flight 462 was emblematic of what would have happened, over Omaha. Planes go down, people die, and some people survive. I mean, I can see why they call it that. And then calling things Monuments Day because, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of like Alexandria. Like, I mean, what would happen if they actually made it 10 years down the line without any hiccups? Yeah. I'm reading Charity's comment. What is it with AMC in Omaha? See a zombie manning the Cinnabon. I do kind of want to bring it back to the season 1 of The Walking Dead. Or is it season 1 or season 2? I think it's season 2. Where, they get to Herschel's farm. And they meet up with this dude named Dave from Nebraska. Rick meets up with this guy named Dave, who's played by, I forget his name again. Michael Raymond James. I remembered it.
Oh!
Yes, and then they have that standoff, and obviously Rick wins. And yet, here we go. We bring this one reference, and it becomes a whole other show. Anyway, so think of it, if you will, two planes in distress have to go down, and they both fight for the same landing strip. I can easily see there being a midair collision. And where are the air traffic controllers? I'm gonna get the flock out of here. Let me get this every man for himself.
Sure.
And you remember season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead, where Althea talks about both the military and the National Guard facing off. So there could be stuff midair, there could be stuff on the ground. I even remember something like one of the drawings from The Walking Dead World Beyond with like imagery of a fighter plane shooting down a commercial airliner. So it might not have been a crash. It might have been a midair explosion, is what I'm saying. Okay. So all this could have been planned. Yeah, and you know, you've seen movies in the past, and I don't know if this is something in real life, where if there is a terrorist attack and all the passengers are dead or whatever, or if there's a contagion on a plane and there are certain protocols to not let it go down, you know, the Air Force will be instructed to shoot it out of the sky, that sort of thing. I feel the beef. I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I can see why they would do that, because you have to sort of indoctrinate everybody into on the same page. You know, living for tomorrow, not thinking of today, that sort of thing.
I'm trying to make it sit well, and it just won't.
Well, because we're used to something else. We're used to civilizations failing because of so many reasons, too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I understand where you're coming from. Because, and it's this one thing near the end. Iris's doodles are a plane crash, pizza, DNA strand, and question marks over Virginia and Texas and other places. Oh, man, I missed that shit.
Mm-hmm. There was also her dad, a little sketch of her dad leading her and Hope through the gates of Colony.
Oh, Campus Colony?
At the very top, there was a little gate, and it was open, and you see a man with two small children.
Right, because the mom dies. The reason why you're having a hard time is that The Walking Dead, more than anything else, to a degree, everybody is trying to live for themselves or trying to survive. I come first. You know, my survival is paramount to everybody else's survival. And then eventually they come around to the idea of, okay, maybe we can, by way of surviving together, I am saving myself as an individual, right? That's not how this ended up working. And, you know, obviously that's hard. You know, so if you're thinking about, I need to survive for me, and maybe we can come together as a community, that's way hard. So what they did is they focused on the collective. If we focus on the collective and forget about ourselves, and that's really present everywhere, then people kind of, you know, they come together in a way that you wouldn't think they could. But then you'll see problems later where they're going, like Iris is having right now. You know, I'm having these dreams. I feel like I'm not living for myself. Well, because they've achieved this level of safety, right? But now it's just like I'm having this existential crisis where I'm not living for myself and for today and for my desires. So what is surviving for if it means I can't live for myself? And so one of the things I wrote was, you know, Iris more than ever realizes that she needs to help her dad. That this is literally the only thing that matters. Like, meaning it's not enough to make the community work, but I need to make me work. I need to survive for myself, and part of that is saving my dad. It's not enough to live for the collective, but you must first live for the individual too. That's
what Dr. K tells her.
Right, the psychologist, the therapist, etc. I don't know if she's a psychologist.
She's something.
Yeah.
Maybe just a good friend.
I kind of liked her.
I did too.
Straight talking.
I did too.
And you know,
I know.
And just to give you guys a little factoid, that wasn't the originally casted person for that role.
Really?
In the teaser, it's notably a different woman. Let me give you the picture because you'll remember it when I do the impression.
Because she says how many people are
there. Yeah, let me bring it up.
Yeah,
because I'm going to say it in her voice. There are 9,671 souls. Do you remember her saying that? She doesn't say that in the show.
Yeah,
she says it. There's 9,671 people here. Too many to think about. You know, so she says it in kind of a softer way. The other one was kind of like, oh, souls, smarmy, with a cigarette in her mouth or something. You know, like you could see her like after Iris leaves, she's like, with her like oxygen lighting up.
Right.
So this is how I pictured that woman going out. She lights up and then just lights the tip of her oxygen. The whole room explodes. And that's why they have to leave, because of that crazy bitch.
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory. I don't care about the collective anymore. I changed my mind.
I like the barred doors that they have in the old folks' home, though. Yeah. That's ingenious.
Yeah.
It really is.
I remember in our past episodes, one of the things that I said, I can't remember which episode though, but like we were talking about what would make the safest community. I said, first things first, get those kinds of doors in your communities, because, you know, you don't want to walk into a situation where you fall asleep and then, you know, you turn, then you just murk out everybody else. You would have to have these kinds of bars that only you as a human would be able to figure out, like maybe like a puzzle door or whatever, but like maybe even not that complicated.
I mean, it could just be like a lift and swing, just something complicated, you know?
Yeah, and even like from the other side, like this, like you have to reach through the bars and go like that.
Right, exactly.
Opens from the outside.
Not going to reach through and know how to. Yeah, exactly. But at one point we had said the prison was perfect for that because they were cells.
Sort of,
you know, they were sleeping in cells. Well, I mean, didn't look the nicest, but it was rational. I mean, you lock yourself in at night. If you die, of course that didn't happen. And then Vincent killed everyone. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like I don't know about you, but every time I see like a prison scene, I always think, oh God, is somebody going to lock themselves in? That sort of thing. Every single time. Every single time. It always makes me nervous.
Hopefully you can help me with this one. I think it's Hope says, her and Iris are talking and she's all pissed off, of course. And she says, they took our dad and sent us a soldier. Who are they referring to? I don't think it's Felix.
No. I happen to think it's the soldier at the end that reports to Lieutenant Colonel Kublik.
The young kid?
Yeah, the young kid. The actor's name is Al Calderon. We do know, okay. I did look up the character that he plays, and I just don't remember who he's called. And the reason why I think it is,
okay.
So let's give everybody a little bit of context. Because Hope stowed away on the bus that Iris meets up with to meet Lieutenant Colonel Elizabeth Kublik, she's able to see from the graveyard in which she's leaving the flowers for her mother that it's not just one helicopter. It's 5 helicopters. One that carries her, the other 4 carry shipping containers. Hope finally admits to this near the end of the episode. I was sitting there thinking, why don't you tell her why you don't trust this Lieutenant Colonel? And I'm just like, okay, fine. And then instead she's harping on the fact that, like, you're not sleeping, you're dreaming of your dad. Or no, she doesn't know that yet. She's like, you're not sleeping. There's a reason why you're having nightmares. Tell me what happened, Yeah. Tell me what you felt that the night when the sky fell, blah, blah, blah. And she admits her dreams in front of basically the entire campus.
Everybody. Yeah. Jeez, can't talk to your sister, but you can talk to thousands of people.
But you know what I thought was really cool about that, or like kind of funny, is how many people will choose to do that, like say on Twitter, rather than talk to somebody in person.
There's a little difference there, though. When you post stuff on social media, you're not facing a crowd. You're not actually seeing these faces that are reading what you're saying.
Or you feel like you're not.
She's in front. She's in front of these people.
Yeah,
that's she can see them.
Would you not say that's brave? Right? Doesn't it go back to these repeating themes that they bring up in the episode?
I don't know that I would call it brave. I think she should have talked to her sister first.
I think she should have too. Right? Like, we're both of an age where, like, okay, you know what? We're not gonna hang our dirty laundry.
That's
like for everybody to see. But they're teenagers. I mean, they're not us.
I thought, oh my gosh, everyone's gonna think she's a lunatic now. Well, not that it matters, obviously.
Exactly, not that it matters anymore.
But but at the time, I'm like, people are gonna think you're nuts. Like, shut up.
Yet,
you don't admit that.
And yet, there is something kind of cool about that. Like, I mean, I'll tell you from my own experience as a teenager, the minute that I put myself out there, the minute I was given the opportunity to get myself out there, because the bars for entry to become cool in high school are very high, especially for somebody who's 5'2" and remains 5'2", as attractive as I am. Spring concert, senior year. So you're already like 2 months away from graduating. I had not been cool for 4 years, and all of a sudden, people hear my singing voice. They see my acting. I was in 4 different performances that day. I was helping out different people with different projects, including my own. I did like Purple Haze with the whole band behind me, and so there's like singing, there's acting, there's a cappella, and tambourine, tambourine for another band. But then after that thing, finally, like. People. It's like I'm telling you about perfume. It's like the second you put the scent on, he's like not sure if they like you for you or they like you for what you did. But like all of a sudden, I was getting all this attention, like people saying you made me cry today, like seriously. And I'm sitting there going like, I don't understand this. I try to be genuine with all of you, and all of a sudden, you guys want a videotape of me having done that performance, or where can I get the cassette? But let me get back to the point. There's something to be said about putting yourself out there that makes people pay attention to you. This girl was already, class president, right? And now she's doing something completely radical, something that in a normal context people would make fun of, but at the same time, something she's never done. She's saying the Civic Republic, I don't trust you. She's saying it
that part I
right in front of their faces.
I liked that. Yeah, that was very brave. That was very brave.
But in a sense, every bit of it was brave. Like, we could die tomorrow is like the basic sentiment. And just watched her therapist try to lunge at her as a walker, injured her head, and was traumatized. That scene was actually really cool. Her sitting down in the corner, while everybody's taking the body out in fast motion.
Yeah, were you screaming at her like I was when she opened the door and then looked this way? I'm like, what are you looking at? She's gonna grab you!
Right. Well,
and then she did.
I was kind of like, there was something about
like, what is she looking at?
There's something about the way that that went down. I was just more like, I just felt bad for her. Like, this was the only person she could tell anything to, and the shock that you don't have that lifeline anymore.
Now see that she's not the only person she could talk to. She's the only person she did
that she
talk
felt
to.
like she can talk to.
Exactly, but that's not true.
And now
she has lots of people to talk to.
And now with that gone, it just all falls out, right? It's just, there's no like little rubber bung, as they say, to hold everything in.
Yep.
It's just it's like what we were talking about, do walkers poop? It just falls out. As Nisa says.
It's gotta.
So now, I want to go back to what Sharon D's saying. Someone says that soldier has a bite on his face. I
saw blood.
I just saw blood spatter. Also, I thought though originally when I saw the teasers, oh, well, what's does he have a mangled face? Because you're watching this teaser from like a grainy computer, image and whatever. But now that you're seeing it on full HD, you're like, all right, well, it's just blood spatter. I get it. He looks badass, but I get it.
I think if he had a bite on his face, Elizabeth would have taken him out right there.
If he did, though, it would probably have been like a scar or something like that weird. Something. Maybe it was like a sex scar. He had a like pre-apocalypse badass girlfriend, and then it just healed over badly.
10-year-old scar.
Yeah, exactly. 10-year-old scar. We don't have that kind of sex anymore. Yeah. Now it's more like walker sex now.
During Iris's talks with Dr. K, Dr. K brings up how she's having a hard time coming to grips with the fact that she was not with Hope when their mom died.
Right.
And Dr. K makes a point to say, there's a reason you weren't there. How did she phrased it in a way that made me wonder what she was doing. Like, it wasn't just that they got separated, but that Iris and her dad were actually doing something else instead of being there or looking. I don't know. She phrased it in such a way that made me think that Iris could have been there, but was someplace else doing something more important.
Does that make sense? The exact wording that Hope says is that she froze, and then in the midst of her freezing, she was pulled away. She was actually separated from her father and her mother and Iris. Right.
But there's a line that Dr. K says to Iris.
Oh, it defines it. That moment defined the rest of your life. Is that what you're going for?
It was right before that.
Oh.
It was right before that line. She said,
Oh. Well, you have to remember, like, the reason why they got separated was because part of the sky fell. It actually, if you can see for a split second, their dad, Leo Bennett, being blasted forward in a split second. Iris gets separated because of that. Hope gets separated with her mom. They get pulled away this way. Something falls behind them that forces them forward, and they can't see each other anymore. They have to.
And then there's people, and then like a whole rush of people come between them, and then they get lost.
And empties too start spilling out of the fuselage. Some of them look like in nurses' outfits, and it's just weird. Or I say nurses, but they had like the oxygen masks hanging from them, or masks.
So they were alive on the plane because the one guy had the mask on. He at least had it on.
He was alive for a little while, and then he was re-alive.
Yeah. And that's the first time we see Elton's mom too, because she's the pregnant woman that they're talking about, that Iris is talking about, that they can't help.
With his little,
they want to help her, but they can't.
Little sister in the belly.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that Triceratops horn! Don't even get me started.
Well, why don't we get started? It seems like Elton has been going out for the last 10 years.
10 years he's been looking for this thing, and Silas just happens to trip over it.
Yep. Over like a lunchbox or something? I have no idea, but yeah, there it is. Well, either way, I mean, that is definitely a bone you could pick with your teeth with a Triceratops horn. The bone I have to pick is what use is a fossilized. First of all, not really a Triceratops horn. No way, right?
Right.
Too big, too small, rather.
Right.
What good is that going to do against a walker? That was my big bone to pick. I don't
with a shoelace tied to a stick.
Yeah, or something. I mean, I'll grant even the lacing. Maybe these look. Let's be real here. These kids. Oh. I'm gonna grant even the fact that these kids could definitely survive better than we would, you and me, because they are educated. That's what they live for the future. They train like every day.
We've got 10 years of education too.
Yeah, a different kind of like fucking around and being idiots. Yeah, not these kids.
Well, we know what not to do.
How does Judith know Spanish? That's what I want to know.
Right?
Do you know Spanish? I don't even know Spanish. I mean, I can get by, but obviously because of white people in Mexico.
Silas and I are learning Spanish right now. Actually.
Now, did you?
Right. Well, I know a little bit. I spent some years in California.
I mean, yeah, again, we can both get by, but these kids could go to another country, probably. I don't know. But my point being is like, okay, we'll grant them the fact that they can tie on a triceratops horn. I will not grant them that it will do much. That's the whole point.
Well, and as we see, Iris doesn't actually use that end when she goes to attack the walker either.
Oh.
She swings it and hits it with the other end.
Okay. Oh, well, okay. There's at least that. Fine. Okay. I'm skeptical and I'm curious. And first of all, can we just talk about one more thing about that? Is that you got in my head? I was gonna say it's Nicholas's. It's
right.
It's Elton's horn. So why? When I saw Iris picking it up, I'm like, you bitch. He's been looking for 10. He's just like, cool beans. You go ahead. Like, okay,
right?
You do you, boo boo. And I'm like,
it was for his sister that he never got to meet.
So much meaning.
You would think that this would have sentimental. This should have sentimental value to him, but he's gonna tie it to a stick with a shoelace.
Like, if you could have maybe explained that, like, in a way that is like, okay, you're obviously more skilled at fighting, maybe. But there's no talk.
Do you think
about that.
The pole that Iris has is probably metal, right? Would you assume?
Yeah. I would endure a dense metal that is lightweit. I would grant that. Okay. Yeah.
Say if it was wood, I would start sharpening that bitch. But if it's metal, I don't know. I'd maybe try and find a way to flatten one end of it to make it. I wouldn't be tying anything to it. That's my point.
Yeah. I mean, it already has the blade on it, probably the S-pole blade.
No, that was Hope's training stick. Remember, she says, "Sorry, you got my hand-me-downs."
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it had one, but I guess not, huh? Felix is probably. She said in the card to Felix, by the way. Hope actually writes in the card, in the birthday card to Felix, all these details. We took yours and Will's jackets.
The
S-pole and some food. So it was Felix's S-pole.
And I was thinking about this just before we started, before we got on here. This is the first time we've covered the first episode of a new series. Like Walking Dead, you started in season 8. Mm-hmm. Fear started in season 5. This is the first one that we get to start right out of the gate.
You're right. I didn't even think about that. To be fair, and Sharondy's here too. So there's a little Burrowing rings of our own. There's you, there's me, and there's Sharondy. Aw. Isn't that cute? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so I want to.
I think they did a good job.
Oh no, I was just going to say one thing that Sharondy says. Like because it took me a while to kind of let it click, but she says you know using it to avenge his sister, the Triceratops horn. It's poetic to a kid, but then he just gives it to Hope or Iris rather. It's just like.
Well, I think they did a good job for a first episode. You know, they gave us a lot of questions, and that's what you want to hook everybody in the first one. Just the little nitpicky stuff that I'm like rolling my eyes at. Yeah.
I was, I remember like writing down some of the nitpicky stuff, but then, of course, we're going through this episode, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that part here explains my question here. So I just erased that. Then that explains that. I'm literally erasing everything because it's so easy. It's so easy to pick on something. It's too easy. But then we get to the end, and then it gets a little messy. Charity says, actually, it would have been really poetic if he gave the Triceratops horn to Hope instead of Iris, let's say, right? Okay, now hold on. There's some things that go on in this episode. So you have the therapist appointment with Iris, right? Iris is getting therapy treatment there, and the therapist basically says you need to live for today, or else you're going to keep having these dreams about you being dead because you're not living. You're living for the future. It means you're not living for now. And what the hell is life for but living for now? So Hope is actually training with Huck, right? Okay. Walker training. And I remember one of the lines that Huck says while they're fighting is, it has a helmet on, so train that way. Train, what would you do now? Beat it back. Yep. Well, I thought that was kind of cool. I thought you might like it too. Now, getting to the point, they're both talking to each other about, why do you want to go to Omaha? She says pointedly, Iris gets it. Iris is the Shane. Sorry, Hope is, I keep messing it up. Hope is like the Shane of the group, and Iris is a lot like the Rick of the group, looking towards the future, but learning to live for today. And Hope is kind of like the Shane of the group. I'm practical. I know what's going on. This is the end of the world. We are the end. Whoa, hold on. No, not we are the end of the world. No, she gets it. And she's like, I'm living for now, no matter what. I'm making these stills. I'm going to get caught making hooch and champagne. It's all about the partying. I mean, her dad even says it in one of his messages from the Civic Republic. Study, but have fun, Iris. Have fun, but study, Hope. I love you girls very much. They get it. They are kind of like mirror images of each other. And then as long as they're cooperating, they're helping each other, right? The yin and the yang, right? Mm-hmm. So they're both having these therapy sessions with two different people at the same time. And I love it how the beginning, they both invite Silas to the party too, sort of, as they come back. Yeah. There's something going on here, which is really cool. They're both like each other, but they're both not like each other. And you wonder how that's going to play out by the end of it, because one of the big things that Matt, and I think it was Matt Negretti that says this, he's the showrunner for this series, right? And he came from The Walking Dead, notably the episode, he directed the episode, or he produced the episode. Do you remember in season 9, Connie in the cornfield with the baby, Whisperer baby, with the audible issues and stuff like that? That was his episode. He took the reins on that episode, directing that. Oh, nice. And then directly after that episode, we hear about the news, because he did such a great job, and he's doing this new series on his own. So part of the synopsis was 2 sisters, one dark, one light, meaning one bends towards darkness, one bends towards light. And then at the end of the day, they're going to be adversaries. Or at least that's what the way they made it seem. I'm almost mad that they said that, because I kind of wanted to see that play out. Because right now, we're not seeing that. We're seeing these 2 people are feeding off of each other in a good way. How is that going to shape down the line?
Yeah, that might continue. I mean, even if they're fighting with each other, they could still balance each other out,
right?
In a positive
way. When does
way,
it stop, or does this synopsis continue?
Hope really called it too. She said, "People suck," and they do. She says, "I want to do all these things before I'm gone. I'm not here." Elton says the same thing. I want to do all these things.
That's what I was going to get to
before I'm gone. Like, these kids are way too young to be thinking about
existential dread.
When I'm gone. Yeah, I want to do all this stuff. I mean, to me, it was almost like foreshadowing.
Yeah. Oh, and for the end of this episode?
No, for the end of the series.
Yeah. Well, in what way, though? Where do you feel like it's going to go?
Maybe none of these characters are going to make it out.
But maybe that's okay. That's the thing. Well, because they lived for today, it's okay that they don't make it out.
I'll have to see when I get there if I'm okay with that. But that, to me, it feels like heavy foreshadowing that these characters are not going to make it the whole way. They want to do all these things before they die, but they're 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. I don't see a world in which all 6 of these characters survive, right? But who knows? Just to finish, the thought that I had was that by the end of this episode, I started seeing people pair off a little bit. Huck and Felix had this little conversation after they start spraying the blue paint on the faces to mark them for the migration patterns, the walkers. For Dr. Bavalar, I'm marking these names down for some reason as if they matter, right?
Maybe they'll show up
later.
Exactly.
So,
maybe we meet these people.
Right. And so Huck calls Felix out on, not thinking he's better than he is, because of his past, because he was abused by his parents, right? And so that reappears. It means that he doesn't take a chance on things. He takes menial tasks that give him minor wins. He doesn't take chances. He doesn't reach for the stars because he doesn't think he deserves it, or doesn't think good things could come to him. And I feel like that played into what he says to the girls later on. just better stay where we are. Things will be worse if we go after your dad, that sort of thing. And he lets them down, and this is like the key. This is going to keep popping up, him not thinking that he's good enough, when clearly he's senior security force for Campus Colony, and Campus Colony just took a shit right now. And so what does this person do when, listen, your back's to the wall. You have to now be great. Your past is going to haunt you, but you have to be great now. So I don't know. I just like this, but I want to get to the main point that I was going to try to make was that you start seeing people pair off. Like, in particular, Elton Ortiz, by the way, Elton Ortiz, he says, I want to see what's out there. I want to see all this stuff before I die. Hope is sort of saying the same thing. And you can see them kind of gravitate towards each other. And yet, like you said...
Irony.
Yeah, exactly. You see by the end of the episode that Hope shoots Elton's mother when they were young.
Not only that, we see I saw
in retribution
psychopathic tendencies in Hope.
Right. Where Iris freezes, Hope is afraid to not freeze.
Yeah.
What happens when I don't freeze?
She killed that woman and then took a trophy.
Yeah, you could say it's a trophy, but I'm you're making a lot of sense. I was thinking more like less a trophy and more like a reminder. Like, this is what could happen.
If she wanted a reminder, why wouldn't she take something from her mother?
Good point. That's a really good point.
She took this from her victim.
Ooh, man, that's dark. That's really dark. Pretty bead.
and she still has it and constantly reminds herself what she's capable of.
Yeah, I was thinking of it more in like not a positive sense, but more like a reminder when she's feeling nervous. It's like, let's not get to this point, or let's not be this person. Everything in my power to not be this person.
That's why we do this, man, so we can share our points of view. Obviously, this wasn't something she's proud. I don't want to say she's proud of it, but she obviously remembers it, and it's more like I was capable of this then. I'm capable of this.
Right, but
is how I took it.
But there's one thing to note about, like, and this goes to maybe a broader point about people in general, but sometimes we see things the way we think we see them and not how they actually are. One thing to note about that scene is that Hope doesn't just pick up the gun and shoots the woman, right? She picks up the gun, moves towards her, and holds it against her. But what Hope might not even remember is that part of what makes her shoot is that another part of the sky fell just behind her. It shocks her, and she pulls the trigger. You see her jerk forward and just shoot the gun that way, and that's what gets her to kill Elton's mom. I
mean, she could honestly say it was an accident, and I would believe that, but maybe she's choosing to say, I did this. Which,
by the way, it makes me think, who needed Dr. K more? I mean, one person was just having trouble sleeping. I mean, come on, really? Come on. But
well, come on. People who need the most help won't admit it.
I killed my mother's killer.
Well, I don't know, but she might even feel a little responsible for it because she stepped forward, and that's what got her mom killed in the first place.
Oh yeah,
she started to walk forward.
I can see her feeling worse about that than about killing the woman. Well, Miss Ortiz. But and even Sharon is saying it's easy to remember the bad stuff. Yeah, that's the thing. You criticize your every move, and this is exactly what Iris is doing. She's criticizing every little thing that happened. It just happened. We all make decisions in the moment, or sometimes decisions make themselves for us, and you can't beat yourself up over everything. I mean, really, it doesn't help anybody. To go to the broader point, it's like you're starting to see like Hope and Elton pair off a little bit, like. Or the potential for them to pair off. They have this similar kind of like, I need to see things before I die. And then I do think there's going to be, and you do see some, I remember this in the teasers, we saw some, either like a fantasy sort of scenario where Silas is dancing with Hope. And it looked kind of funny because it didn't look real.
Like a homecoming scene, like a dreamy homecoming scene.
Right. And he had just moved to Campus Colony from Omaha. His name is, by the way, Silas Voce, because he's the nephew of Marco Voce from the Physical Plant. See, I write down these little details.
Did they say Silas's last name?
They don't, but they make reference to him being the nephew of Marco Voce. VOCI.
I have an uncle who has a different last name than I do.
Yeah, I mean, I do too, but I'm just playing. I'm playing the odds here. I'm playing the odds, you know.
Yeah. Let's say it's his dad's brother.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll say that. Yeah.
Say now. Shandy asked the question: what did he do in Omaha that made him get here? I have a feeling that we may find out through time.
We better find out.
I mean, the assumption that like some of the kids are saying when they're talking about it is like, did you hear what he did down in Omaha, and he did something. But we do see
he should be in jail.
We do see some teasers. We saw some like slight glimpses of what those things may have been in some of the other teasers that popped up just before the show aired. Like you could see there was like some sort of violence at home or something like that. Maybe something with his dad. And again, this is something that maybe Felix can help him through because he's been through that too. Or maybe he had to do something really, really dark. Like maybe he found his parents, as walkers, or his dad as a walker, and he had to put him down, and then people thought, oh, he killed him, or who knows. Again, you're talking about a guy, a teenager who's been, raised in the apocalypse, so it may have been when he was very young. It may have been something new. I don't know.
I think whatever ends up being the perception of what happened isn't going to be the truth. We'll find out what really happened, and then
good or bad.
We'll see what the world thinks happened. Like the situation you just posited. Maybe his parents turned, he had to put them down, but maybe they had like just turned, and so they didn't look
like they were
like
dead.
A zombie.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it just looked like he murdered his parents instead of giving them mercy.
Or it could be exactly like we think, and because we find sometimes that things are as bad as they are. And sometimes we have to just realize, yeah, they could have been, but these people are living. And so if they're willing to try, we can find a way to live together. That sort of like Negan and all these other people hang around.
The character that I see him like playing though, like, this sort of like kind of shy, awkward, kind of, oh, hey, we made cake.
We made cake in the easy bake oven. Yeah.
Yeah, like I have a hard time seeing him being malicious.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is like classic world building, like character building. You're trying to feed the birds, and the birds are hungry. So
I like
pecking at things.
I like that I like that we have this dark thought about Silas, but when we see him on screen, he's just like, oh.
Well, hey guys, where's my stapler? I don't know. Now, Sharon, you're saying I heard he was the former CRM soldier. That's the soldier they refer to.
Silas is the CRM soldier?
Oh no, definitely not. Silas is a kid.
Yeah,
Silas was shipped in from Omaha. He was originally in the city, and they recently had transferred him over.
So whatever happened in Omaha, whatever they're referring to, is the reason he got shipped over here. They didn't want him in Omaha anymore.
Yeah, for some reason.
So they sent him to campus.
Oh, okay. So no, Sharondy's mentioning the theory that she heard about Silas.
That Silas was the CRM soldier.
I mean, I don't know. I'm seeing the previews, and it looks like he's not really adept. He has his big ass wrench, but he's not the first one to attack. And maybe he's afraid to attack. Maybe what he did affects him to this day. I don't know.
Maybe.
And I'm just listen. Half of what I do is bullshitting, positing and bullshitting and hoping. Right. I'm like that guy that plays basketball and hopes all the hook shots I take, all of them. I don't take straight shots. I take hook shots every day, all day, hoping something sticks. Finn or Star Wars was a stormtrooper, and he worked in sanitation. Oh, so okay. The theory. I guess you're building a case here. Finn on Star Wars was a stormtrooper, and he worked in sanitation. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess maybe, but again, like, does the Civic Republic military have teenage soldiers? I mean, maybe if Al Calderon, the soldier that Elizabeth Kublik is talking to, is a teenager, then maybe you're right. I'm just noting that it could be that guy, and because the guy knows where everybody is, I assumed he was the soldier that was stationed there because he was looking specifically for the girls by the end of the film.
A girl. Which one was he referring to?
Was it a girl? Okay.
said we didn't find her. Not them. Her. Yeah.
So who
I was like,
who do you think he's referring to?
I mean, my gut wants to say Iris, but
right, mine too.
I don't know. Maybe it's Hope. Maybe she sees something in Hope.
Oh, okay. And see, Isabel. And Sharon D's saying Isabel, but here's the thing. Let's take care of the elephant in the room, because Lieutenant Colonel says she has a daughter a bit older than you guys, a soldier in the CRM. She's away from me a great deal, and that makes me scared sometimes.
Oh.
Then I remember she's helping to protect the Civic Republic. She's helping us with the Alliance of the Three. She's taking that risk to eventually bring this world back, and that makes me brave.
Okay.
We have to be brave in this life that we have, simply to exist right now. I'm going to tell you something so you can trust me. And she goes into the thing where, like, she gives the girls the map of New York. It's a coded map, but it does have her name on it. It has the stamp of the three, the Borromean rings. But, you'll know that he's there, and this is the best I can do. If people find out that I gave this to you because it has my name on it, I will certainly go to jail. I'm also certain that I might be a little drunk. But here's the thing. Let's take it back. Let's go back to season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead. What was the one thing we saw right in the beginning, in the first episode, the season premiere? We saw these little maps with that little shade square. Mm-hmm. That's the decoder.
The reading device.
Yeah, that's the decoder. Like, you put that over the thing and you can actually see lines, in the maps. So if they can just somehow get their hands on that, that would be great.
Do you see what Sharon D's saying?
Who are they looking for?
Isabel. They're looking for Isabel, and I think she's going to say that her theory is that Elizabeth is Isabel's mom.
Well, here's what makes me pause, and this is why I was going to say wait for me, because let's go back to the end of the episode. She's saying she's not here, right? And what does Elizabeth say in response?
Good.
Right. This is what makes me confused. Isabel is not here. Good. Why is that good? Is she looking for her, or is she making sure that she's never found? And why raise Campus Colony? Like, why bring containers full of walkers to breach their walls? Why? And you'll note that one of the walkers is one of the blue painted ones. So either they they use the containers to scoop them up, or they brought in soldiers to take them down. I don't know. All I see are them putting down like gnarly walkers.
You see people there too.
Yeah,
not just walkers.
I wasn't 100% sure. So there's a couple things going on, and Sharon D's saying Elizabeth went AWOL. But again, like, if she went AWOL,
Isabel.
So the question is Elizabeth making sure that CRM never finds her, and she's saying good? Is that the question?
So, well, if the theory is that Elizabeth is looking for Isabel,
right?
Well, I mean, it could also be good. Maybe good that she wasn't captured.
Right.
I mean,
well, why would
she's not being held?
Why would she be captured by Campus Colony? Right.
Yeah.
They seem to be good people. Wanting they feel open to taking people in and stuff, and they have these little different dormitories. And
I still think she was talking about Iris, and the purpose that she gave them the map was she was hoping that they would slip out before she knew what was going to happen. She knew what was going to happen as soon as she landed. I think she was trying to get them to leave.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more inclined to say that. But if it is Isabel that she's hoping that wasn't found, why? If Isabel is AWOL and she's hoping she doesn't find her, was Elizabeth specifically tasked to find her daughter? If that is in fact her daughter, right? This could be one of those things that's like, oh, of course we're going to think it's her. But maybe it's not, right? Remember we went on the tree hunt and we assumed it was Madison? It was like, right. Madison's alive. Madison's alive, everybody. Listen, hear it from the mountaintop, right? Like the Bible, right? And then all of a sudden at the end, it's like, hey, yeah, I'm Wes. Yeah, I made those trees.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
What the fuck? Exactly.
Well, when Elizabeth was telling her little story about, I have a daughter, I went, you liar. I didn't even think she had a daughter. I still don't. I think she's lying.
Okay, but let's go back to the end of the episode and wonder, this was all on purpose, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they came there with the intention of killing everyone. But why?
Wait. And also, they maybe, as in the collective, but Elizabeth herself specifically gives the map to the girls so they get the fuck out of there. They
Right.
want them to find their. She wants them to find their father. Maybe I'm just positing. She wants them to find their father because for all the cards that we have on the table right now, it seems as though that's what she wants them to do. Seems as though, even though she
I would
says
say
her.
at the very least, I would say at the very least, she doesn't want them killed. I'll say that much at least. I don't know if she wants them
Right.
to find their dad, but she just doesn't want them to die like
Right.
that.
Yeah, maybe on their own. Maybe exactly. This is why I say the way they did this and they laid the groundwork for this series potentially is good. That's why I think this series is off to the races on a great pace and great start. They've got a good starting gun, right? They're making excellent progress. Let's see if they maintain that, of course, right? Let's be fair. But also, you wouldn't blame them for having to kind of take some filler episodes to kind of build their characters up and also face interesting situations where they can bring some of this knowledge at play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can see easily people criticizing that. But
They'll be slow episodes.
Yeah. But, I think this is going to be kind of like one of those wavy things. Like, the way you used to draw waves as a kid, those little loops is used.
Yep. Yeah.
You'll have the filler episodes and you have an upswing. You have a filler episode and an upswing. Because that's going to be the nature of the series. It's a limited release. You're going to have the thing that we were saying about
11 episodes.
There's 11 episodes for this season, and then who knows for the second season. But it's kind of like what we were saying about the difference between TV and a movie, where how we're more prone to want to sit down to watch a television show rather than a movie, because a movie has a beginning, middle, and end. The setup, the conflict, the twist, and then the resolution, right? In a television arc, with spanning multiple seasons, you're like, okay, I can sit down, hang, absorb the character development, see the arc progress. I know I'm only going to get a piece of it, so I can't wait till next week. There's a game theory mechanism to it, right? It keeps you tuned in. A movie, you're like, whoa. I know this is going to be over soon. This is going to be over before I know it. I need to prepare myself for that, right? My point being is that there's a little bit of both in this. And so you're going to have to expect that there's going to be some action. You're going to lose people along the way. But there are also going to be moments where they're going to take some time to breed that character development, and try to do their best. But there's definitely going to be action. People are going to come in. People are going to be lost. We don't know what's going to happen. And The Walking Dead has never done anything like this before. I mean, the only other thing that may have been any way similar to that is the webisodes. And let's be really honest. I'm never usually this dumb culture, but the webisodes aren't really that great. Would you agree?
I'll be honest. I have not watched I watched the Red Machete, but I did not watch the airplane one.
Well, the Red Machete actually happened to be good, but all the others.
Yeah, I did watch that one.
That actually won awards. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised though.
Yeah, I think it was mostly because of the animation. So the Fear the Walking Dead's classically not that great, and even like there were early webisodes for The Walking Dead too. They actually had not a Rick origin, but the origin of the hospital that Rick was found in, like a little backstory, kind of.
Oh, I definitely didn't see that. I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, it answers the big question of how could Rick have survived the 2 months or whatever, the month. I don't know how many months he was in the hospital on his own. This webisode answers that question. How is he getting fluids? How is he staying alive? How is he being fed? That sort of thing. They reference the patient in such and such room. And how he almost bit it too. But yeah, there's several of these, and some of them are not that great. Though this one isn't even all that great, but it has a semi-famous great actor on there. She's kind of a power. She's the nurse that runs the hospital who decides to stay. Yeah, she's got this like kind of tragic foible to her, and so I think it's worth a watch. Anyway, so again, most of these suck. Red Machete happened to be kind of good, but for the most part, episodes suck. But you get my point, is that it has these tiny, tiny pieces that will definitely lead to an end soon. Look, the reason why I'm always forgiving about most series, and I really think the Walking Dead community has it too good, is that most series, when they start out, they have pilotitis. You get the casting, you get the premise, these people aren't familiar with their characters. In recent years, what showrunners have decided to do is sometimes the first episode isn't the first one they film. And this is something that people have learned after a long time of doing this and learning. Like, remember what we said in episode 101, which got cut out? I cut it out. One of the things that we said in episode 101 was that TV shows classically were filmed linearly. And then eventually down the road, our camera technology got better. We thought of different ways of filming things. You don't film on a soundstage anymore with a crowd of people behind you, with just two cameras. Now you can film out in the wild. You can film out in multiple sound stages, out in the outdoors, etc. Right? Steadicam technology, battery technology, filming things out of sequence. And now, like in the last maybe 5 to 10 years, and this is really, it's really weird, but it's kind of like a recent advent where showrunners will tend to not film the first episode as the first one because of pilotitis. Pilotitis is when your characters don't have their footing yet. They're kind of green. They don't shape out to be like, even when you meet Rick for the first time, his accents actually it changes over time. His looks change over time. His attitude changes over time. And not because the character is growing, but it's because the actor is finding the character along the way.
Yes.
They're getting used to their things. This happens with most series.
Exactly.
This is what I'm saying. So now that we look back at this series, you have to really kind of appreciate, really, really appreciate. I am so critical of anybody who slams the show in such a way that is like, do you really know what it takes to actually find a character immediately? I'm not saying that they have. And if they haven't, and we find these characters grow, or these actors connect more with their characters along the way, I'm really interested to see that. If this is their pilotitis episode, then we're in for a treat, is what I'm saying. So be appreciative as well, is all I'm saying. Is like, they don't always get it right in the first episode. My God, you want to see a perfect example of that? Star Trek: The Next Generation. I'm going to say it loud. I'm going to say it proud. You watch the first season. The whole season was pilotitis. By God, by the end, and this is for you horror lovers, by the way, the last episode of season 1 features a nemesis whose head explodes by the end of the episode for shock factor. The whole season is awkward. It's so awkward. But then you get to around season 2.5, 3, they introduce the Borg. It starts to get real. And it gets real good. They start having these mini arcs. But like, yeah, Sharon is saying a bunch of things. I remember it. Game of Thrones pilot, same thing. Pilotitis. Yeah, I think the Game of Thrones, and this is the thing, the Game of Thrones pilot was actually really, really good, in my opinion. But the rest of the episodes almost weren't, in some ways, weren't almost as good. Like, they drew out the whites already. They set up the plot with the twists and where the series was going to go. But then you found yourself in setup again, and again, the Game of Thrones effect with multiple people out in the field.
Speaking of pilot, I almost don't even. Maybe never mind.
You might. I'll cut it out. Don't worry. Just say your mind.
Well, I say we could talk about it after. I don't even know if I want to share it, but Eric and I, you're gonna have to cut this out. I'm telling you,
Fine.
man.
Yeah.
Eric and I were laughing so hard at Huck.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I've never seen Annette Mahendru in anything else. I have nothing to compare her performance to. But Eric and I both were laughing so hard. I'm like, why does it look like she's trying out for a Rocky Balboa film? Like, hey, we got these walkers over here, man. We gotta spray them up and happy birthday, bitch. Like, what is happening right now?
I get it.
It was just so funny. I'm like, and I kept waiting for her to like
be normal,
come around. Yeah, like come around and be normal. And I'm like, that. Oh, we're going with this. Okay, all right.
Right.
So the whole And Eric kept going, I'm walking here.
Why would I cut this out? This is gold.
Because I feel bad. I feel like I'm dogging on her performance, but maybe that's exactly what she was going for. I don't know.
I think she
just thought it was funny.
I mean, her name is Huck, like Huckleberry Finn. She's got that country. Apparently, I don't know.
They call me Huck. It's a long story.
It's a long story.
It's a long story.
I want to hear
it. Most nicknames come with a long story. Like,
yeah. I mean, look, my nickname at dinner parties is, listen, specifically dinner parties, is Spanky McButternuts. But here's the thing. I have no story. I really don't give anybody a story. That's just what it. No, you ever been to like a wedding or like some sort of ceremonial thing where there's a dinner and tables and all that stuff? And I've never seen this before in my life until one time, this Midwestern wedding where they have where you could put a label on your wine glass and you could put your name on it so you don't get confused. Always, without fail. Or if you have a place setting, always without fail. Spanky McButternuts. I know it's mine. I know people are going to ask me why. Why would you do that? And I'd be like, because it made you do that.
And it. Nobody's gonna drink from that cup, right?
No, nobody. Spanky McButternuts. They don't want
Spanky McButternuts. So
exactly.
Like, it's not me. It's not my cup.
It's not a long story. There is no story. Look, I get it. But this is actors finding their characters. You know, like. And even like the interaction between her and Felix in that moment, like right after they spray the walkers, it's a bit awkward, right? I felt the awkwardness. I could feel it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can critique something without dunking on it. And again, your hesitance is emblematic of that. You're like, I feel like I don't want to judge this thing because of the pilotitis effect or. Because like they're trying to find their footing, blah blah blah. No, it's okay. You can do that. Like, here's the way you don't do that. I don't fucking buy this show with the fucking Huck and her fake accent, and oh my god, it's so fucking phony. And no, we're not doing that. We're like, okay, I'm gonna grant. Right? No, but that's what I'm saying. Like you lean into the criticism, you know, the critique. And then you start throwing dunks on it, like, yeah, fuck you, eat my dick. I'm gonna fuck you like a sex crazed walker. This is getting so cut out.
And you know, I'm glad to be out here doing all this work. You know.
Hey, Felix, you want to check my pulse?
Yeah, I guess. Okay, thank you, Sharon D. Thank you. Yeah. I didn't want it to come off I didn't want it to come off the wrong way.
Yeah, Sharon says respectful criticism is fine. It's personal criticism that's an issue. I mean, I don't even think personal criticism is that bad. I think, I mean, I don't know. No, it's starting to go towards bad, but I think more like taking pleasure out of dunking on something is just kind of like, I don't feel very comfortable with that. But more like, I mean, you can poke fun at something. Like, look, you can poke fun at the accent too. As long as you're not doing it like maliciously, right? You do something out of malice.
Not at all. And I'm not like, she's a terrible actress. Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, she was in The Americans. Clearly, she's a great actress. Like she was heralded. Like everybody's so glad for her coming on the show because she could find this other character that's completely not like the other character.
I was the one that brought up the joke. I said, why is she talking like home dude from Who's the Boss?
Yeah.
So I was the one that brought it up.
Yeah.
Tony Danza?
Excuse me.
Hey, Angela.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Why is she talking like Who's the Boss?
Right. But yeah, I like this whole like who's the woman, who's the man kind of thing a little bit. Like, you know, who is the boss? Is it Felix? And no, it's Huck. Huck is the tough girl. Huck is the one training people, fighting walkers. Felix is the one taking the more menial jobs. Oh, let's bust that distillery. Let's Herbert Hoover this bitch. You know, like, what the fuck? Right. I'm not going to say role reversal, but maybe, you know, what's it called? Gender stereotype reversal? Not that they're doing it to do it, but I think it's okay to kind of have characters that do different things. My
mom and I kind of joke about how we sort of take on the more masculine roles right? in our home, in our, you know, and then I tell my mom all the time, she has the best wife ever. She does. Hands down, my mother has the best wife in the world.
Cooks meals, right?
Does laundry, does everything, takes care of. She has the best wife in the world, who happens to be my dad. So,
and she brings home the bacon, right? Is that how it goes?
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly how it goes.
There we go. Yeah. And every now and again, she'll do the nice thing. You know, like she'll make that dinner that happens to actually be really good. You're like, yep. Oh, and Sharon D's saying the same thing. Sharon D brings home the bacon.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
So I get it. Like I'm totally comfortable with Huck taking on this, you know, this masculine role. Like that doesn't bother me at all. And I know once she slips into this character and is feeling more comfortable, we're all going to feel a lot more comfortable too.
Exactly.
I am excited to see her get there. I am, but this episode just kind of made me laugh. That was all. It made me laugh.
Well, and again, like, I mean, even when we were covering the teasers, even I was kind of laughing at Iris because she was like, "Yes, that's what we're going to do because I'm president." But
yeah.
But there are people
and you're just
that
like,
oh,
that. Honey.
Oh, you don't know what's waiting for you.
Honey.
But then you see her go through this shit. You see her therapist walk her in front of her, and it's this weird thing where you actually do start feeling for her. You don't know what's going on under the surface. You can tell she's there. She's literally saying there is shit going on under the surface that I'm afraid to let out. And so, and we're going to maybe see some of that stuff. You're going to see her try new things. You're going to see her fail and all that stuff's going to come out. The real things are going to come out.
Charity says, can I just say how nice it is to have a larger sized woman in a lead role and a woman of color at that? I kind of thought the same thing. I mean, Iris is beautiful. I'm not sure. I don't know the actress's name. But she is absolutely gorgeous.
Aaliyah Royale.
She is absolutely beautiful. And you really don't. When was the last time you saw, a plus size woman in a leading role? It just doesn't happen. I look at that and I'm like, oh, like they're reaching out to my people, like I feel like, like they're talking to me.
Oh, are you saying you're a plus size woman?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I don't, maybe that's the point because I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like
Melissa McCarthy. Yeah. Yes. Melissa McCarthy. Another very good example. Mm-hmm.
Melissa McCarthy. Who's the one? Brittany runs a marathon. I forget who she is. She's funny as hell too.
Usually when you see a plus size woman in a leading role, it is a comedy. Yes, that's exactly it. It's usually in a comedic role. This is a more dramatic role, and I love that.
Like the whole
you don't see it as often.
point, it's funny because she's fat, right? That sort of thing. And the guys too, sometimes also, like Jonah Hill classically made his chops on his weight and all that stuff. But no, but
Chris Farley.
But I didn't want to detract from the point that you were trying to make, which is, there is some, and I think my inability to register that goes towards the idea of either, where we're going as a society. Like, oh, it doesn't register to me because it wouldn't have occurred to me. Because it's so good and because she's so good, and you're like, we're still not doing that. Oh, maybe we're not doing that. Oh, well, I didn't notice. That's good. I think it's good that we didn't.
Yeah.
It's good to notice, and it's also good to not notice. I think there's a positive to saying how it didn't register with me. There's a positive. It's like, oh yeah, they can do it too. Yeah, right. Why not? Right. But then we have then we have to remember that doesn't typically happen, right?
Yeah. Well, think about how excited you were when we met.
Rabbi Jacob Kessler.
Exactly. When we meet a character that we can really relate to,
right?
All of a sudden we go, oh yeah, where has this been?
Yeah, that's cool.
It's like you don't realize it until you have it.
Yeah, it's the bootstrap effect. I was trying to put words to that idea. There's something to be said about somebody that you could connect with, but like on a level that is automatic because it's like the bootstrap effect. It bootstraps an experience built in. Like, oh, he knows what I think and feel like and how I pray or used to pray or whatever it is. He knows about me. I know about him automatically. And so
instant
like
connection. Yes.
Yeah. It's like when somebody like a black person sees Victor Strand, it's like, okay, I'm bootstrapped into this character in some ways because he must have some of my experiences. He may have some of my foibles, whatever it is that it is. I'm not going to go into it because I don't know that experience, but I get it. Yes. And so, so maybe when young black girls see this character, the bootstrap effect is real and a character that is achieved, that is her father is a key member of the community with a white sister, obviously. Right. And then, the tragic death of their mother together. There's something to be said about that.
Is Hope Caucasian?
She's Arab.
I thought. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's
okay.
Oh, so her name is Alexa Mansour, and Mansour is more. This is my heritage now. We're in my territory. Mansour is more. I was going to say more of a Lebanese name, but a lot of Arabs come from Syria, which is the Levant. So that's the general Iraq and Syria region before Iraq and Syria was split up.
I thought she was Hispanic. She reminded me a lot of a girl I went to high school with.
Yeah, there are some Jews that have the last name Mansour. I don't know if she's Jewish, but I know that that's an Arabic name. But yeah, anyway, regardless of that. And so there's a little representation there too, which is kind of cool. As a lead role also, cool. Obviously, like Felix being the gay character, there's something there too, but also somebody who's been abused, you know, and so I can easily see people saying, you know, look at what this guy has achieved, and yet he still doesn't feel like he's whole. I know a lot of people must feel like that too.
Are we assuming that not Nico? Oh my God, Felix was
Nico Tortorella? Abused? You mean Felix Carlucci? Similar names,
right? I know
yeah.
it. I know. So we're assuming that Felix was abused because of the comment Huck made about getting dealt a bad hand.
Yeah, multiple times too. That was mentioned through the show.
Okay.
With his parents specifically. I'm going to make an assumption that the reason why first of all, the reason why he wears that sleeve on the show, remember that big compression sleeve? In real life, he has a sleeve, like a tattoo sleeve, right? But they use that mechanism to tell a story. And I feel like that story is that whatever his parents did to him, it was bad and it was physical. And it could be burns, like scars and burnt, some gnarliness underneath. He says it also in the prison where Hope is. He says something about, your dad helped me when my when my family...
He said he gave me a new life.
Right.
A purpose.
Exactly. You know, when I was
But
lost.
I didn't hear him mention his family.
I think it was one other time.
I watched this 3 times. How did I miss this?
It's okay. It's again, compressed. No, I'm kidding. That was the last episode. No, they, you know, like, I got to give them a lot of credit. They drop a lot of things. We have gone over the fact that Elizabeth has met up with them 2 times. Once, as they're leaving the prison, because we just mentioned that now, after discovering that Hope was busted for booze. And again, in the same manner, they're in the streets at night again, and they meet up with Elizabeth again. Elizabeth is quote-unquote drunk. We don't know. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. And that's when you have the trust experiment. Now, if you didn't pay attention, Felix was actually eavesdropping on this the whole time, which allows him to tell Huck that her suspicions about them going to Omaha were wrong. And so he knows where they're going, and I think he has an idea of how they're going to get there. But
on foot, right?
Yeah. But the thing that happens when the girls confront him, they confront him about the letters that they've been receiving from their dad.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And he says something about breaking the 10 provisions of the Four Corners Agreement.
Yeah.
Will that come up again? Probably not, but I just thought it might be worth mentioning. What the fuck is the Four Corners Agreement?
Right.
I guess that maybe it's the CRM pact, like, you know, Portland, Omaha campus, and the Civic Republic, maybe.
Maybe they have their own charter, you know, like Michonne wrote up. You know, they've got their own one of those.
Exactly.
I would thank you for bringing that up. I was kind of a little confused, and it doesn't even matter, but I was a little confused when Hope is in jail and Felix gets real close and he's like, you know, have we heard anything? And she's like, no, it's been months. So when she says it's been months, does that mean it's been months since they last heard from him, or has it been months since he's been gone?
Oh, maybe months since he's been gone. Yes. They haven't told him about the messages until now. Yeah.
Okay, that was going to be my second question. Does Felix know about the messages at all?
No, not until that moment where
until they okay.
Until it says my safety isn't assured. Yeah, it says my exclamation point to safety N0T.
With 5s.
Yeah, and then N0T and then A55 URE pound sign. So,
and then the very next message is written clearly with letters and punctuation and everything. So
did that make you as suspicious as me, by the way?
Yes. Yeah, it did. It did.
Okay.
I'm feeling like there's something to that. The jumbled message versus the legible ones.
Right. I was listen, I didn't really pay any mind to it on my first watch, but on my second watch, yeah. So the last obviously message says it's gone bad. Keeping my head down. I'll find help. Don't tell the council. Don't tell Felix. I love you, girls. And again, that one looks totally fine, which does make me suspicious. Yeah, it makes me really suspicious.
That one I do think came from their dad, and only because he addressed the girls. He said, "I love you, girls." I think if it were anybody else, they would have said like, "I love you," or "Love you guys," or it would have been more of a general message. But he was very specific, "Love you, girls."
Okay, so you don't think the other one did?
I'm thinking the "My safety not assured" might not be from him. What if Elizabeth found a way to found out about it and sent a message there? And set them up and gave them the map.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah,
and that's why it was all jumbled, because she has to do it in secret and real fast.
Yeah, because it's attached to a pager, which spits out the message.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Maybe she found out he was sending messages and she somehow sent one herself.
I think we're all wired to think that, the Julia Armand character, Lieutenant Colonel Elizabeth Kublek, is like an untrustworthy character out of the gate, but I feel like this person has twisted morals.
Maybe she's in a position like Gavin.
Middle management? No, but that's the thing. Like, Gavin was more of like a follower, not a leader. This woman clearly wanted these girls to survive.
Maybe she was ordered to kill all these people, and this was her way of getting them out of there first. She's doing something she doesn't want to, but she's gonna help them.
Like if they're all gonna die anyway, right? This is why I think it's a complicated character. Like obviously she's making her peace with having to kill all these people, right? But then she uses her smarts or wiles to get these girls out. So I don't think she's all that bad.
She's going to be a confusing character, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not immediately untrustworthy of her. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I'm not either.
So Charity says, just simultaneously, I think she wants to take CRM down from the inside. Which also, again, like, it goes to the theory, like, why that makes sense is because of the theory that, maybe she is looking for Isabel and maybe she wants her out of it, or maybe maybe Isabel is AWOL. Or, again, going back to the original point, maybe it's not her daughter at all. Maybe it has nothing to do with it. And it's fine to say that, because they do this to us all the time. They make us think one thing and then, no. But they do it because they know you'll think it. Same thing with the comics readers, right? You think it's going to go one way and they do something different or not even close.
I love it. I love that though. Yeah.
It's like, now you guys are going to know what it's like, you TV watchers. You know what it's like to have your things misdirected, thwarted, subverted, right? Yeah. And I'm like, no, I don't like this. No. We already got it with Madison again this year, last year in Fear the Walking Dead season 5. I don't like this feeling. Why would you do this to us? Oh,
they change stuff from the comics that I don't really care about, and then they won't change the most important things, like keeping Glenn alive.
Exactly. No, it has been ordained. Like, okay, fine. But then saving Father Gabriel. I mean, we're kind of going to cut this out, but saving Father Gabriel. Woo. Anyway. Oh, baby. Baby daddy life. Again, the PJ Harvey song I kind of like because there are some things that I can attach myself to. Like, let me give you the lyrics. So, as soon as I'm left alone, the devil wanders into my soul, and I pretend to myself. And I don't know what that 100% means, but I thought maybe, okay, I'm busying myself so that I don't have to think of my needs right now. So it kind of matches up. And Charity's noticing in the classroom, seeing Hamlet isn't lesson on the board, which obviously the big thing with Hamlet is ambition, right? Hamlet is finally getting ambition, which also kind of goes to Felix as well. He's a soldier. He doesn't try to reach for the stars. He doesn't try to go up the ranks. He does his job until somebody whispers in his ear, like, you can be better. Or
you could be so much better.
Angela, you could be better.
You could be better, bitch.
Who's the boss? Wait, hold
So I liked that song, but I can't even lie. It had a very spooky haunted house feeling to it. Like, I was like, this is perfect for like an October premiere. It's very spooky feeling.
Oh my god. And it was about to get cold too. So like it was kind of serendipitous, right? Like, again, this goes back to the Walking Dead season finale that we just did in episode 101, like how fortuitous it was that we got this episode kind of near fall, or in fall, technically. And now we were going to get this episode in April, and technically it's about to be cold. And we're in that season where it's about to be cold, where if they're not fast enough, they could be caught in winter in New York, upstate New York.
Yeah.
Probably.
Did you notice what Elton was writing in his notebook during class?
I saw some numbers, but yeah.
All I caught was 8/19, which I assumed was a date, and he wrote 2/17, like a time. So I don't know if that was that day's date. Like, are we to assume that it was August 19th? Maybe?
I don't know. Maybe. Although I would have thought maybe it was a little later, huh? You think? Maybe? Like, how long does it take to cover 1,100 miles on foot? I mean, Morgan did it in like a week.
It seemed like it, right? Hopefully these kids find an abandoned car somewhere and can, really make some miles.
Yeah, well, assuming gas works, right? That's another one of those things that we have to kind of explore. I mean, the Jeep worked and the bus worked. No horses. Yeah. So, and well, you're talking about car country. They must be working with ethanol or something. Okay, Sharon keeps hammering the point, the Walker powered wagon.
Yeah.
As you go down the lyrics, by the way, of the PJ Harvey lyrics, and the song's called "The Devil." I go out to the old milestone, insanely expecting you to come there, knowing that I wait for you there. And I translate this to, I foolishly expect you to read my mind. Again, I don't know exactly what that means, but and then it all falls apart when I go to the hook, which is come here at once, come on a night with no moon. Because all of my being is now in pining. I think I translate this to more like, when you come out in a night with no moon, it's a little bit more dangerous. Come in spite of the danger because I want you to. So maybe this is more like, it doesn't matter. It's all that matters is now. I want it, therefore I shall have it. So
yeah.
And
if they didn't get out of there, they'd be dead.
Yeah, exactly.
They had to leave. Yeah.
In spite of that. So yeah, exactly. So what finally cheered me now seems insignificant. What used to make me happy no longer does. So they lived in splendor. They lived for the future. Things were great. You walk around, you're like, what? This is not the zombie apocalypse I remember. And yet, it's not good enough for them. The things that I thought were significant are now that I see the truth and where we live, it just feels insignificant.
I liked what Sharon D said about how Elizabeth might be trying to take CRM down from the inside. Yeah. And Isabel could also be a key to that. Maybe she is looking for her because the two of them, maybe they have a plan in place and it takes the both of them to do what they need to do.
Right. Get the doctor out and...
Maybe they had a plan.
Let's take a step back too. Why is his safety not assured? That has to also come about. Because why? What's wrong here?
Right. Is he in fear of the people around him? Or are there walls being breached with walkers? Or is it an outside enemy trying to... Exactly. I mean...
This is like the
threat's coming from.
Yeah, this is the classic J.J. Abrams mystery box. It's like, okay, you need to keep asking these questions because you're going to get more answers, and then you're going to get more questions, and each question that pops up is going to get answered, and then more questions will be left in its place, which drives the story forward, right? And so these are. It's easy to say, to focus on Elizabeth, but not go, hey, wait. Why is his safety not assured? What's going on here? Why? This is a celebrated doctor that is looking for the cure. But is there a faction in the Civic Republic that doesn't want the cure, right?
See, if my theory pans out, that message is from Elizabeth. So his safety
is totally fine.
Safety might be fine. And then his next message just says, it's getting bad, or it's going bad, or
it's going bad. Yeah.
It's going bad.
Yeah, it's gone bad. Keeping my head down. I'll find help. Don't tell the council. Don't tell Felix. I love you, girls.
So that doesn't necessarily mean he's in danger. It's going bad. That could just simply mean his research isn't panning out how he thought. Maybe he's looking for another scientist for help. That message to me doesn't necessarily mean he's in danger for his life. That could mean a lot of things.
I think his lack of usefulness would be a bad sign.
Well,
I mean, either interpretation doesn't bode well.
But I'm saying there's a difference between my safety not assured and, my research just isn't going how I thought. Those are two very different things. Sharon D says he's been active in a fifth column group. What does that mean?
Oh, it depends on who he is. Are we talking about Leo Bennett?
Leo.
Yeah,
okay.
Leo.
What does that mean?
A fifth column group is usually like an inside force. Yeah, so maybe he is Maybe he is military. I don't know. We don't have that information though. I mean, that's like taking a big leap. But I mean, I'm not ruling it out. Look, I saw that he had a doctorate in philosophy and biology. So maybe it's that philosophy part. Maybe that's a code for military. I don't know. I like the fact that we know everybody's last name practically except for Huck. We don't know her real name.
We don't even know her first name.
Exactly. Possibly Silas Focci, Elton Ortiz.
Maybe find out.
We got Hope and Iris Bennett, Felix Carlucci, Elizabeth Kublik. I just don't know what that soldier's name is, played by Al Calderon. But we'll find it. Well, I know we'll find out.
Yeah,
I know
we
we'll
didn't
find
get
out.
his name.
I know it's on IMDb. I just didn't look it up. It was on IMDb back then because when we thought we'd actually see the show back in April.
You know what else is interesting? When he reports back to her, we've checked every building and all the surrounding areas. So everyone there's aware that she's looking for someone specific also.
Right. Maybe, yeah. Or that they're searching for survivals. And that's the question, right? Like, is all of them in on it, or is it just these two, right? Like, they're like on the same page, and because she says out loud, "Good, it's good that she's not found," you know?
Right.
I'm watching this guy though. I'm curious about who he is or whether he was the soldier. By the end of the episode, something that is repeated by Hope is that, like, dude, just drop the biology and immunology, do the thing that you love. You know, you love drawing, you love painting. Iris. And then by the end of it, she does do that. She seems to be writing in this journal where she used illustrations, some diary entries, and for the first time she's able to sleep. I think Iris is going to become different. How that different manifests, I don't know. I'm curious to see. Again, pilot-itis means that my eyes are very open. I will criticize when criticism is due, but I will give it credit where credit is due. And the fact that we have this kind of full story with all these setups, all these possible twists that we're going to see down the road, how this Elton Ortiz and Hope Bennett thing is going to, they're going to start knocking boots, and then he's going to find out eventually that Hope has killed his mom and his baby sister. But there is another thing that he drops in that moment about when he tells this all to Silas. He says, my mother used to say... Sharon
said it. The wind always wins.
Right, the wind always wins. And which means nature decides. And, if that's what nature wants, then it's always going to get what it wants, There's nothing we can do about it. So I have a feeling that will be tested, if that's the case.
Well, and Iris even thinks that her mom died from walkers. Like, she doesn't even know what happened.
Well, and that's why Hope says, you don't... I'm glad you weren't there. You wouldn't have wanted to be there, or something to that effect. How could you see me any other way than a killer? Right. So Sharon D says Iris is going to break bad and go evil. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because the natural inclination would be you're going to see Hope break bad. But then I was even thinking like, oh, this could all twist around and Iris could finally be the person that she was meant to be, a serial killer or something to that effect. It's kind of like the Rick effect. And this is why I compare Iris and Hope to like Rick and Shane, respectively in that order, right? Oh my God, no, Sharon D, no, bad Sharon D.
Yes.
She says Iris equals Martha. Iris equals Martha. Oh, no.
Yes. Oh my God.
I mean,
if things turned out bad, she could go the way of Martha. Sure.
I'm going to be strong. And then
I'll make you strong.
She grows up and she finds the corpse of Martha down the road.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. If I see, I'm not touching that one. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Oh man, I was going to make the Rick and Shane comparison, which is obvious, but like, here we go. All right. Strong equals brave. Wow, she doesn't say equals, but I get it. I'm going to make you
strong.
I'm going to make you brave. says Elizabeth Kublik.
Now all the walkers have brave on their forehead.
Oh no. And all the walkers are Elton, Silas, and Hope. Oh no. And Felix has to put down Iris. Oh no. Felix is the new Morgan.
So they're not all going to make it out of this season.
I don't know.
Who are you putting bets on?
Let's bet on one. Okay? Because let's just say if one of them has to go, who would you bet on? So you're saying Iris? I don't know.
Yep.
I'm saying she survives in spite of herself.
I think I'm saying Iris because I think it would. Because it is not expected.
Sharon is reading my mind. I was going to say Felix too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that too, but
let's say why though.
I'm only saying Iris because she's what I would call our main character.
Well, so you're saying subverting expectations of who is in the lead role kind of thing?
Right.
That's smart.
Everybody's like, oh, she's safe. She's safe. No, we can't do that. We can't do this and do that in this universe.
Right. Yeah, there's no main character. Fuck that shit.
Right.
It's over.
Right.
No, I think Iris is going to survive in spite of herself. I think Felix is a perfect choice because it's like we said about the bootstrapping. We're all familiar with this kind of thing where of the idea of somebody who is abused, who is, growing up in a society that, or in an environment that rejects him, right? Or seeing abused children or people who are physically abused, and it's instantly revolting. And so when you see somebody trying, a sympathetic character you bootstrap to, right? You automatically listen to the stories or the stories that are told about them. You can instantly identify or try to identify with that person or sympathize. Like, it's not easy to sympathize with Iris as much. Some things that happen, you kind of, okay, I see how traumatized she is by that, seeing her doctor, be a walker. Okay, I get that. But otherwise, she is kind of wooden, but on purpose because she's all about living for the future. Right. Felix, it's plain to see that how he is spoken about and how he acts. It's like, I'm not going to take any chances. Let me just keep my head down. I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do. Exactly what I was saying, Sharon D. Huck says he takes menial jobs to prove himself, so I think he's going to do something grand to save them all, but die. Yeah, the tragic death.
See that?
Yeah, I can see that for the sake of these kids to move forward, right? And it would instantly give us a reaction. It would instantly get us to feel something hardcore for him. Like, it's kind of like the difference between seeing Nick die and seeing Carl die in a way. Like, I loved Carl. I loved him a lot. But something about Nick triumphing, Nick having these problems that we know about, instantly you bootstrap the idea of somebody who can't help but be addicted to drugs or whatever it is, or addicted to these certain experiences. And so when you see somebody go through this evolution and then suddenly die, after finally reaching a place where he could maybe change, boom, done.
Well, I just hope Felix doesn't go out in a blaze of glory.
What is the reference to that? Yeah, can you explain that?
The name
of the next episode. Yeah. Thank you for that. Because I was watching Next Up, because I saw Next Up Blaze of Glory when I was taking notes. Oh, well, say goodbye, Felix Carlucci. Your time on The Walking Dead World Beyond has ended. Snuff.
Right. That would really stink. I mean, if he does die, at least I hope it's at least in the last or second to last episode.
Yeah, of this season, right?
Yeah.
But you would still bet on Iris, right?
I mean, I say Iris just because I think it would be totally shocking. I mean, I don't actually think that would happen, but I think it would be incredibly unexpected. I mean, I think Silas and Elton are on borrowed time. I'm gonna
actually tangent just a little bit, and this is going to stay on the show, but you want to talk about shocking? I watched the first 2 episodes of Utopia on Amazon Prime, and first of all, you get to know these characters, right? And within the first few episodes, they are murking them. And I am not sure if I like this show. I've never seen anything like this where I start to identify with these characters. You're cheering them on. You're getting to hear about the setup of the show. And it's completely bizarre. But then they start murdering these people that you're connecting with already. And there's something half revolting but half intriguing about seeing it through. And you want to talk about shock in the first few episodes. I recommend you guys watching it, if only to help me get through it, because there's, so many crazy things happen. I can't believe it. Last
time you told me to watch a show, I couldn't get that. I couldn't get my life back.
I don't know.
Never get that time back.
What show was that?
What was it? The Order? Is that what it's called?
Oh my God. I'm not sorry. I told you to stop watching multiple times. I said, stop.
I know, but I couldn't. I watched the whole thing.
It's
there's another season.
It's like watch. Fuck that shit. No, it doesn't deserve it. I thought it was over after 3 seasons.
They just put out another
for
season.
the fourth season. Come on, and it's just as awful as the first, right?
I have not watched the new season.
Okay, well,
I won't.
Well,
I won't.
I'm saying the third. The third is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying you're saying it yourself, and I was trying to I couldn't get past the second episode. Anyway, so getting back to the point is like I need a second pair of eyes. I need somebody to hold me.
Help me.
I need somebody to hold me. I just feel weird. I feel weird. Like there's something about connecting with characters that they just kill.
That right there is the main reason I will never watch Game of Thrones. That's all I heard about that show. They like immediately kill off their main character, and I'm like, that's a terrible show. Why would anybody watch that? How do you kill off your main characters immediately?
I see your point. I think this show is a little bit, it's this weird thing where the show's compelling enough that to make you want to watch it. Like Game of Thrones was a slow build, right? Obviously, it was setting itself up for many seasons. I don't know how long this series is going to last. They just keep killing people that you learn to love.
Not going to have anybody left.
Okay, so she supports Game of Thrones. Okay, all right. Well, Blaze of Glory. Anyway,
right? Literally.
All right. So I guess let's to just cap off this entire experience, this entire episode. Do you like this show? The overall impression is I'm in it. I'm.
Oh yeah.
I'm good. Let's keep going.
Yep.
I'm excited to see what I'm excited to see what happens. The setup was amazing in my opinion. Maybe some of the execution could have been better, but again, pilotitis, I always throw that over my shoulder.
We might have been saying the same things about Walking Dead episode 1 and Fear the Walking Dead episode 1, but we didn't get to cover those. So this is extra exciting.
Yes, exactly. And consider the time too. 2010, we'd never seen anything like The Walking Dead. There was nothing like that. It was either hokey or obviously going to go bad or miniseries but nothing in the genre, nothing that kind of compared. I could maybe point to some things, but nothing that had this like existential overhang on it. Like nothing you could do you could escape from. You couldn't escape from this. But this is cool. I'm glad we're covering this first episode of this first series of the Walking Dead universe. So Sharon Day, are you saying yes, it's awesome, I love it? This The Walking Dead World Beyond? Yes. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So let's leave it here. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys making it out here. You guys meaning Sharon D, but also those of you on coffee.com/squawkingdead who are going to be watching this as an unedited episode. Appreciate it. First of all, if you want to join us in the recordings and you want a piece of these unedited episodes, hit us up at ko-fi.com/squawkingdead for less than a cup of coffee. One-time buy will get you 30 days of access, but a subscription of a coffee a month at least will get you continuous access to our behind-the-scenes content, bonus content, unedited episodes, and to join us in these recording sessions where we chop the shit out of these down before they premiere publicly. You get to be behind the scenes where we fuck up and we start editing things out. The pre-show, the post-show, we talk about bullshit.
Dave sings. Apparently, I didn't even notice, but I guess I did. Oh, I was singing the song in Brian's promo, which I forgot to mention at the end of the episode, or the beginning of the episode. I did a little editing of Brian Castrillo's TWD Universe Ultimate Fan cameo that he got from Kari Payton. I told him expressly, I said, don't watch this yet. Get your phone out, get another phone out, watch yourself watching this for the first time. We can do something fun. You can show it to Kari and Cameo, and hopefully they'll put it up as like some sort of reaction video. And he did that. It wasn't perfect. The sound went in and out, but I compensated for it. And so what I did was I did what I used to do much more with these other giveaways, was create this like little promo thing where I put some backing music. I put a little intro saying, congratulations, Brian, you're the TW Universe's Ultimate Fan. And then it launched into the beginning of his reaction video. I fixed the audio. And then because it's a widescreen video, thank God he filmed in widescreen, right? I was able to put Kari with his vertical video on the right where he was holding his phone. And so that part worked perfectly. I put subtitles to kind of fill in the gaps of where the sound might not have been great. And the music was just very energetic. And so I was singing the music right before we started recording. Because now it's in my head and it just drives. This is the stuff I used to run to when I used to run, which is a long time ago. And it's just really fucking cool. Was something chasing you?
It felt like it was, or I was chasing after something. No, I'm chasing after walkers. Yeah.
Well, my mom can't run anymore. She tore her MCL for the second time.
Oh.
She's had 5 knee surgeries and still keeps running. Anyway, she like will jokingly, ask me to go running, and I'm like, why is something chasing you? That's always my response.
Something? Are you chasing me? And for what?
Yeah.
Well, why? What did I do?
Well, every year we have a zombie run here in town, and so people get all decked up and everything. And I've done my mom's makeup for several of these races, and I'm like, that's probably the only time you'll get me involved in a race. And that's because I'll see these zombies behind me and I'm booking it.
Peace out. I tore my meniscus laterally. It's I don't know. I hadn't run. I did a couple of turkey trots. I did just some 5K stuff, and it was just turned out poorly. I mean, I just need to lose weight, to be honest. That's the only reason why I had problems is because of weight. If I just dropped the weight, I wouldn't have as many problems, and I could run and be totally fine. But
I can't breathe.
I can't either. I have breathing problems, but I got used to it. I mean, that's the thing. Over time, I got used to it, and then my knee blew out. Man, there you go. And that just basically ended that. I'm not counting myself out just yet. The music, by the way, for anybody who's interested, is Anne Berlin. It's one of the last albums. I urge you to check it out. It's on all our social media: IG, Twitter, Facebook, etc. Yeah, thank you for joining us, and you're going to hear from us soon, as we're going to be covering Fear the Walking Dead's season premiere of season 6. As well as The Walking Dead World Beyond's second episode of its first season, Blaze of Glory. What's Sharon? What is the title of the season premiere for season 6 of Fear the Walking Dead? Wait, no, for season 6.
Blaze of Glory.
Oh my god! I thought she was just repeating it, and then my eyes adjusted. I'm like, oh, Blaze of Glory, gotcha.
Glory. Oh, I love it. I don't know.
The end is the beginning.
The end is the beginning.
Now, I bet the last episode is called The Beginning is the End. So our episode 103 is going to be Fear the Walking Dead season 6, episode 1, and then episode 104 is going to be The Walking Dead World Beyond, episode 2, first season. Episode 6 is called Bury Her Next to Jasper's Leg.
What?
So somebody's getting his leg cut off?
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, episode 6 of Fear the Walking Dead season 6. Yeah.
Bury her next to Jasper's leg.
Who's her?
Who's Jasper?
Who's Deanna?
Who's Deanna?
We're going full country. Never go full country.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. All right. We've had our fun. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you very soon. Thank you for those of you who, and I must say this, for those of you who do support us, thank you. We just ran out of money.
Thank you.
Charity threw the first $3 in the plus category.
Woo, woo.
Like, to be real with you, we are negative. Always negative. We're running a negative operation, but we had some money to use for this giveaway, this recent TWD Universe Ultimate Fan thing, and also the TWD Families Ultimate Members thing. I used it to buy the prizes. I am forever grateful that it could do that. That's the thing. If I had to use my own money, there wouldn't have been nearly as many prizes. Okay, just so you know, not nearly. But the fact that we did have that kind of money made it that much more awesome when it all went down. So thank you, Sharon. Thank you, all of you who, and I thank you every month. I have Percolation Nation. I release that to thank you. I can't thank you enough. I would like to do more of these things that make people happy in the future, but we're going to be paying our bills very soon, and I'll be footing the bill. So if you could find other people to actually help support the show, that'd be great. But thank you very much. We'll see you very soon. Happy to be back. Again, second episode for being back, covering an actual episode. I'm hoping all of this stuff makes sense because we're kind of out there today, but I appreciate all the input you guys have given, both of you. I appreciate that you put up with my sometimes rambling manner. Have a good night, everybody. Take care. We'll see you very soon, and goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Go home.
Goodbye.
Nothing to see here. Wait. No, you can go now. That's where the fade out comes in. Anyway.